Hi, my name is Bea. I am from the Philippines, but I am currently a graduate student here at the University of Edinburgh, um, taking up my master's in education. Today, I wanted to talk to you about being brave. It's funny to say that I'm brave, especially since I experienced like my whole life. I experienced a lot of anxiety. Even just this past year, I've experienced one of the worst anxiety attacks that I've had. But I don't want to disregard that I'm still brave even if I experience that. Because I don't think that, feeling anxiety and feeling fear cancels out being brave. Because there's this quote from Franklin D. Roosevelt where he says, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the assessment that something else is more important than fear." And that just really resonated with me. There's a lot of things that I've done in my life where I was always afraid to go after, my dreams and my ideas, but I always just felt that the effect of me going after it would always outweigh whatever fears I had. One example would be 2 years ago, there was a super typhoon that hit the Philippines and caused a lot of landslides in the mountain region. And one community in particular was really hit hard by this landslide, and when I heard about it, I just really felt compelled and I felt called to go there and help them. But at that time, I didn't really understand how. I just knew that God was calling me to go there. And at first, I didn't really think too much about it. I thought that, it's just one of my dreams. Like, I have a lot of ideas, but for some reason, this in particular really just felt like a burden to me. Like, I felt the desire to actually push forward with it. But every single day of that month, I would wake up with a doubt and a fear, and I'd bring that to God and tell him, I can't do this because of this, and I'm not capable of raising this much, or I don't have this much money, I don't have these contacts, whatever. And every single day he'd give me a word or a verse to answer those fears, and I just kept bringing myself back to his word in Joshua 1:9, where he says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." So I was definitely afraid. I was afraid of failing, of disappointing the people there. I was afraid of, having my name be attached to something that fails, or people thinking that I want their money, or whatever it was. There were definitely a lot of fears going into this idea, going into this project, but I just kept going back to my faith and going back to the knowledge that my God is greater than anything that I could ever be afraid of. And I knew that he was calling me to this. So I went ahead, even with all the fears, and it was a crazy story. I ended up kind of racing everything I needed in a couple of days, like in 10 days, and even on the day itself of the activity, like that was the only day I really actually knew how many volunteers I was getting, how many participants there was going to be, and just if I would reach my target amount. And it all ended up working out. Of course, it was through the help of so many people, so many of my friends and family, and we were able to help this community and reach out to this community and give them, food that they needed, and more than just food, that we were able to give them the emotional support they needed to just process everything that happened in the last month for them. And I just can't imagine if I had let my fear stop me from pursuing, that project, then I wouldn't have been able to experience the amazing experience that I was able to do during that outreach. And it affected so many people's lives, and I just believe that each one of us will come to several points in our lives where it feels that way. It feels like you're at a fork in the road and you're either choosing to move forward in fear or just to go the other way, the easier way, but it won't let you experience these amazing adventures. So I think for me, the biggest thing was my faith that my God is with me, and that really pushed me forward. And knowing that what I plan to do is so much bigger than what I was fearing, and that has helped me, that mindset has really helped me go through a lot of my anxieties, even moving across the world to pursue this dream, and going completely out of my comfort zone, to live in a place that I've never been in, and to kind of put my all into something that I wasn't really sure how it was going to work out. It was very scary, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, because all the fears, overcoming those fears just gave me so much more than I could have ever imagined. The experiences I've had, the people I've met, it's all worth it. So yeah, I think that's kind of the few things that I want to encourage you with. First is, make sure that you remind yourself that even if you experience fear, even if you experience anxiety, that doesn't stop you. That doesn't have to stop you from moving forward and being courageous and being brave. Second is that there's so many more experiences out there for you if you're just willing to take that step, if you're willing to move forward. And there's so many more important things that you can accomplish if you just step out of your comfort zone and just not ignore the fear but overcome it. And lastly, I just want to say that for me, the most important thing about being brave is knowing why. For me, it's my faith. I know that because I was commanded to be strong and courageous, and because I know that with whatever I do, with whatever I pursue, that my God is with me, then I am able to overcome any of my fears and any of my anxieties. It won't always work out the way we plan it to and the way we want it to, but there's always something beautiful you can learn from all the experiences, whether you fail or whether you succeed in whatever you do and whatever you pursue. There's so much to learn. And yeah, I think that's it. So I hope you go out there, be brave, and just conquer the world. Bye. I'm Bea, and I'm brave.